Hi, everyone. This is Wendy from Love, Light, and Passion. I am super excited that you are here with us today. We had a few technical difficulties, but it is the internet, and so that's bound to happen. But I'm really excited about our show today. We have the wonderful Jodee Peevor with us all the way from England. Did I get this right? Yes.
Yeah.
Central England. And I'm super excited that she's here. I actually found you on another blab show. And she was, there's very rare that I see a lot of social media people like me, and very rare that I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so spot on and they're so genuine and they're not trying to sell a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to work. So I was really impressed because I no longer do social media. I just coach people, and I thought, what a great guest to have on, because you still do other people's social media, and I just think that it's your I just listened to you for that hour thinking to myself, like, yeah, she gets this. She gets this probably more than most of the social media people that I talk to. And so I'm thrilled to have you on, and you are going to talk about your 9-step plan, which I think is fantastic. I've already gotten emails back from my email list saying that they're going to watch it if they're not here, because you sound awesome. And so I'm really, really excited to have you on. So welcome.
Thank you very much indeed. Hi, Wendy. It's super to be here. And yeah, the blab I did with Simone was great fun. It was a very enthusiastic blab about, the nice ways to be on Facebook and the way to grow your business on Facebook without being a total douche, which I think is rare these days. There seems to be something really crazy that as soon as you get on Facebook, you can lose all decorum.
Yeah.
And you can just be rude and be, completely inappropriate. And I fell away from the old sort of networking groups about 2 years ago, because they were doing things like, you turn up and you have a coffee and someone rams a business card in your face. Well, you know what? I don't even know your name yet, and you're thrusting this business card in my face. And I think that's what's happened to Facebook. People just don't get how inappropriate that is. And they really need to sort of take a step back and think, hang on a second, if I was actually in these people's space, if I was physically in their space, I would not be acting like this. And I just don't understand why people think that as soon as they're on social media, that it's one step away from normality, and the decorum goes out the window. So I'd love to talk about that with you today, as well as, the 9 steps to building your business and making sure that you get out there, that your online business thrives and flies. Because, we spend a lot of time building our businesses, and if you get it wrong when you're online, and if you put your message across in the wrong way, you can actually affect your reputation in a not good way. And I want to make sure that everybody that I work with, and everybody that I come across, whether it's a blab or Facebook or wherever, that I'm trying to put across this movement, if you like, of just being gentle and nice and respectful on Facebook.
Yeah, and so, I can't agree with you more. And it's so funny because I do one live networking group still, like in my area, because when I moved here, I was like, I should meet somebody, make a friend, something.
Yeah.
Because I moved from another state, and just recently I had that happen. And I was like, I've been coming here for 4 years. That is not how this group works. And it is, whether it's live or on Facebook, it's just an insult to anybody who's there. That's how I feel. I feel like if you haven't gotten the time to say even hello to me, and then you're shoving things in my face, in this case it was catalogs, and telling me how great it is to join your team, I was like, no. And I can guarantee you that I probably won't even have a one-on-one with you, and I probably will never even look at your stuff, because you just came off wrong from the beginning. And I completely agree, because what happens is, and sometimes I meet great, and I don't know about you, but I meet great networkers out in the community, and they get on Facebook and they're like, all they put, realtors is a good example. They just put house link after house link. And I'm like, but you don't do that when I see you. Why are you doing that on Facebook?
Yeah, it's like it's one step away from normality. And I think that's the problem. I am myself wherever I am. Whether it's doing a video or it's doing a blab, or I'm chatting on Facebook, or I'm in my groups, or I'm physically one-to-one with you, I'm the same person everywhere. And I don't really get why other people would do it any differently. but it's rife out there. It's everywhere. People are just self-promoting without any thought of the reputation or the relationship building that they could be doing. Yes, don't get me wrong, relationship building takes longer, but I tell you what, it's successful and it works. Whereas if you start ramming your business card, you know, virtually down people's throats with all this self-promoting and multi-group posting, which does my head in completely, you know, all you're going to do is waste your time being very, very busy, but not achieving anything. Whereas if you took even some of that time to actually spend some time reading groups, reading the posts that are out there, finding people that need your specific help and giving them that help. And that's time that's far better spent rather than making up all of these memes and doing inspirational quotes and you know, all this kind of thing. You know, you're wasting your time. You're not building any relationships. All you're doing is posting out into the ether and hoping that, you know, something
catches.
Yeah. And nothing does catch. If you look at them all, they've got no comments. They've got no likes. They might have one from a best friend or something, but it's like tumbleweed. You can see it. If you scroll down, it's just, it's empty. Whereas when I put stuff out there, I don't ever do a post. I do comments. I think that's a big thing. That's one of my 10 commandments of not being a douchebag on Facebook. I don't actually post in other people's groups. All I do is comment. So I will mooch through someone's group and find a post where someone's asking for some technical help about building their businesses, because that's what my specialty is. I'll find that post and I'll comment in the thread and I'll give some help and I'll give some love. And, you know, that's what I do. I'm not actually the poster, I'm the commenter. And I think that's a big change for people to get in their mindset, that it's not about desperately, and I think it is desperate a lot of the time, finding topics to post. Because that's quite hard work, constantly having to come up with new stuff. And I think that's when they do the multi-group posting, where you see in your timeline that they posted the same damn thing in 4 groups. Because, you know, most of us are actually members of the same groups, aren't we? It's quite a small online community when you think about it. So if someone I know posts something in one group and posts it in 3 other groups, the chances are I'm probably members of those 3 other groups. So I get it all converged in my timeline because Facebook thinks that's a useful thing. And I just think, gosh, you got no imagination at all. What on earth is going on? It's really blatant.
Well, and it's so funny because I was just talking, I've known this lady for years, and every once in a while she's like, can you help me with Facebook? And I was like, well, I'm coaching now, but I can get somebody if you want somebody to do it. But what's your strategy? And she's like, well, I post. And I'm like, and then I went through like, well, maybe you need to start with a strategy and then we can go from there. And so it was really, really funny because she was at the end, she goes, oh, that all sounds great, but I don't have time for that. I just need somebody to post for me. Like, okay. But, and it's such a waste of money. It is such a waste of money, and I tell the same thing when I'm coaching. If you're just going to go, and my whole thing, and I know you touched about this, and we'll talk about this in your steps, is that my whole thing is that you don't go posting unless you know what people want you to actually talk about in the first place, because you don't know what problem and I think a lot of companies think they know what problem they're solving, but they don't until they talk to anybody.
No, exactly. Exactly. I have a thing where I'm trying to sort of move people away from the whole ideal client avatar and move people instead to help them create their ideal message instead. Right. Because at the end of the day, if you've got your message honed and perfect, you will attract the right kind of client anyway. And people tend to do it the wrong way around. They're trying to figure out the client when they haven't even got their message sorted. They don't even know what they're trying to do or help people with. They're too busy figuring out if she's got brown hair and she's age 32 and how many kids she's got. And I'm like, no, that's just a thing. You know, that's a thing in Facebook advert targeting where you got to put your age and your gender in. Other than that, it's useless information. And you'll waste a lot of time focusing on the ideal client. But if you look at the message and actually, what are you trying to put across there? Because if you make that message super specific, really, really hone it down, make it really succinct, then your ideal client will flock to you. Yeah. And I changed, because I've been in business since 2005, so that's 11 years now. And for the first 7, 8 years, I was working with people, I like to call them transactional clients. So they would come to me and they would say, build my business. They would throw money at me. I would give them a business. They go away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very transactional. It was a one-off. I never saw them again. There was no relationship. It was not particularly satisfying for me. And I realized that the clients that I really got excited about were the ones that came and said, I want to build a business. This is my idea. Can you help me? Can you work with me? I want you to be a business partner on this journey that I'm going on. And oh my goodness, I loved that kind of client. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to start trying to reject the transactional people.
Yeah.
So I rebranded. I created a really heart-centered, hand-drawn, illustrated. I got a lovely lady up in Liverpool to do some beautiful illustrations for me, so that I was actively repelling the people who didn't want a relationship with me, and I was actively attracting the people that did want a relationship with me. Because people who landed on my website and didn't like illustrations or hand-drawn things and that kind of thing, then they weren't my kind of client. But when I put that message out there that I want to be your business partner, I want to go on this journey with you, you know, for a considerable amount of time instead of just a week or two, it totally changed the people who came to me, because they were being sort of magnetized to me. I was attracting them, whereas I never did before. So if you hone your message, you don't have to care about who the ideal client is. They will just come and find you.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because and it's so funny because I had a similar journey. So I've been doing social media for 6 years. I did 3 years with partner, 2 years with a partner, and I was like, she was all over the map, and for me she was trying to do too many things, and I really am just social. That's it. I don't do website. I know who I am, and I'm okay with that. Saying that, I started my own business. It'll be my 4th year this year, and I was like, this last January, I was like, why am I doing people? For me, I was like, I don't even, because I've got into that transactional. And if you can't communicate with me what you want to, what your message is, or you don't want to work with me on the strategy to get your message out, then there's nothing for us to do. So I literally have clients who would hire me, and they were like, then they're like, my social media is not working. I'm like, because there's nothing about you in it. There's nothing. Yeah. And so I kind of went on a firing rampage in December and fired all but 4 clients, and said, coach, and as people who are really excited and want somebody to actually work with them to get something out of this. And so it's been a real big change. And it was literally like I started my business all over again.
Yeah.
Come
it
January.
Is like that.
And
I love it.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to. So I'm really okay just saying, no, that's not for me. I'll send you to somebody else. But that what you want, not what's really, and which it's a little bit of a sad thing. And I don't know if you experience this, because social media can work fantastically for businesses, but unlike any other, like, they hone in on their skills for the business, they hone in, and then they get to this part of social and they go, well, why doesn't it work like, you know, advertising of 20 years ago? And I'm like, well, it's really you that you'll like put all of this effort in and then go over here and go, this doesn't work. Well, it does work. Yeah. But you don't want
got to put the effort in.
Right. Exactly. So let's talk about your 9 steps, because I've heard them before and I think they're fantastic. So let's get into that.
Okay. So, do we talk about the Facebook decorum? Should we do those?
Well, yeah, let's talk about those and how people get started without being jerks.
Yes. Exactly. So, the way that I see it, as I said before, is that it's all about decorum, and it's all. Hang on a second, my toddler's having a bit of a singing thing in there. Poppy, honey. Just a minute, babes. Thank you. She's singing songs in there. It's wonderful. Awesome. So I said before that it's all about decorum, and it really, really is. If you've got a clear message and you understand how to put that message across, and you understand the kind of people that you're going to be helping. For example, I help startup businesses or new businesses rather than, 10, 20-year-old businesses. I much prefer working with the sort of early sector. So that is to do with the ideal client. Figure out who you're talking to and what stage in their journey they're at. Because if you can understand the stage in the journey that they're at, you can put your message across with the right terms, using the right language, using the right attitude, using video as well, particularly, is incredibly helpful. If you understand, I find explaining in video a lot easier than explaining in text. So if you've got something that you need to put across, then do a video explaining it, and then later on you can target the people that watch that video with an offering. Because what you've done is you've opened that door, you've had that communication, they've seen you as a person, it's an interaction video, even if they're not talking back at you. And you've been able to then retarget them afterwards because they interacted with your video and they engaged with your video. Right. And that's a new thing that Facebook is doing a lot more of now. So, I mean, it was only last month, I think, that they came up with the wonderful sort of targeting people that have engaged with your content on Facebook. And for me, that's absolutely gold. I would also ask people to put together a really short bio that isn't related to them as a business owner, but is related to them as a person, and to get that on their Facebook page. Because when I go on Facebook pages with people, again, it's like the networking where it's very sort of douchey. It's all about them being a business person, when actually I want to know who they are as an individual. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect.
I've got a formula here. I'm just finding it in here for you, which I think is super helpful for people to write a really good Facebook page bio. Because obviously everyone needs to have a page, and they need to make sure that that page represents who they are as a person and isn't, a cold business page. Right. And that's what you were saying earlier, Wendy. A lot of people think that them as a business, that's all there is. But actually, we're far more likely to build a relationship with the person behind that business than we are with the business owner. Right. So I'm just going to read out my little formula I've got for doing a bio, because I think people might, they can write this down. So first of all, nice and simple, you state your first name and you say where you live. So, hi, I'm Jodee. I live in Central England. State what you do and when you did it for the first time. So I would say, I build beautiful online businesses, and I first did this in 2005 and I haven't stopped since. Then you write a funny anecdote about you, just one sentence. So I say in my bio that I used to have sheep, and I once took my sheep to university in my mini car, which is the smallest car in Britain.
I was so going to ask you about that today, by the way. I read that. That was hysterical.
There's got to be one nice little funny story, but it's literally one sentence. The problem that most people have when they do this bio formula is that they go overboard, and there's sentences and sentences and sentences. This is very short. So the next bit is write something about yours that's a foible. So I put, for example, when I'm really enthusiastic, I get very loud and I speak very loud, and people are like, oh my God, you've got no volume control, because I'm enthusiastic. So that's me. So that's a foible of mine. So again, it gives people an idea of the kind of person I am, instead of, the business. The whole point of your bio is to give them a little bit of an insight. And then the last bit is to write something that you're brilliant at, and then write something that you're not very good at. So I put in mine, I have sponges. I can make sponges that are lighter than air, but my bread, you could literally use as bricks. It's dreadful. But using social media, it doesn't have to be all professional, and, this is not LinkedIn.
Right.
On Facebook, we can be people. We can be lovely people who are silly and fun and honest and true and good. And it seems like we've lost the way, kind of.
Well, and the other thing I just want to point out, because I get, because I do this show. So, and I'm pretty specific of how many characters I want the bio to be, especially because I was on Blog Talk before this, and, you had to fit into that character. And I was very impressed with the fact that yours was so short. And the reason why I say this is because people don't read. I mean, in the general sense, because everything is so fast and social. Even email blast. If I get an email blast and it's this long, I'm not reading it. And so I think brevity is a really, and I guess maybe because, I'm all into brevity. I love short. And I think Twitter has taught us that. Saying that, though, I think that there's a skill set to short. And so when I got your bio, it was like, oh, she's, and I realized it's because of what we do, but I'm like, she gets
Yeah.
the brevity of that. Nobody's going to read more than that.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be short and sweet. It's got to be entertaining. It's got to do
Right.
its job, and then, you know, then it's done. Because at the end of the day, if you, I have a thing that I call a biz in a nutshell, where I get my clients to create 4 words that say what they do. So mine is that I build beautiful online businesses. Just 4 words. Bear with me 1 second, Wendy. Poppy, you need to stop singing, darling. You need to stop singing. Have you got a movie on? Okay. Poppy, can you watch the movie, my love? Yes, you need to stop singing, honey. Go back to the sofa now, please, baby. Good girl. Go back and sit with Helen. Sorry, Wendy. This is the joys of working from home.
I have mine's off in camp. He's a little older. I've gone through that stage.
So let me bring up my 10 commandments of Facebook, and let's have a chat about those, because they are super, super helpful. And I think, again, for me, it's about honestly being imaginative when you're on Facebook.
Right.
I know I said before about the multi-group posting thing that seems to happen all the time. That's my point number 1. That's commandment number 1 for me. Is do not multi-group post. It just shows a lack of imagination. And the thing is, I want to engage people with the things that I've got in my head, the gold that's in my head. So why would I ever need to repeat? If you have to repeat things, for me, that would make me think that you don't have much gold in your head, because you're having to repeat stuff. Whereas if every time you see Jodee posting something, it's unique, there's another bit of gold, there's another top tip, there's another, you know, super sort of, I don't know, my bio formula, whatever it is. If every time I'm posting on social media, it's new and it's unique and it's gold, you're far more likely to tune in each time than think, oh, it's just the same old stuff. Because I'm setting up a reputation for over delivering. And for me, that's what my online, that's how I online market myself, is by setting up a reputation for over delivering. I always help. I always, you know, support people. For me, it's very important that they know, even before they've spent any money with me, how much I over deliver, because then think how much I'm going to over deliver when they are spending money with me. You know what I mean? It absolutely changes the thing. What I'm going to do is walk through my kitchen. I'm going to hide in the office, because I think this might be a very good idea. This is my house, everybody. Isn't it gorgeous? Wow. Here we are.
And you know, it's really funny that you say that, because the other thing is that, and I don't hear it as much, but when we first started on social media, or at least I know for me, everybody was afraid to put anything out there for free, because if you put it on social media, then they won't buy from you. And because it really has changed the traditional marketing mindset of, well, that's just not true. And I mean, and you'll always have those couponers, which I call, and that's okay. And if that's not your client target market, they will come and they will go, and everybody else who really wants you will stay.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, and you don't know when that couponer is ready to make that leap. So if you don't give them something in the beginning, then you're not going to have anything for them. You know, they're not going to find a reason to stay for later.
Yeah. And also, you know, relationships are a great way of sort of using marketing as an analogy. If you take someone on a date, you're not going to sit down when the bill comes and go through and say, right, you had that and I had that and you had that. You know, if we're going on a date, then you're treating somebody because you want to over deliver right at the beginning.
Right.
And you want them to say yes to the second date. You're also not going to try and ram your tongue down their throat at the end of the first date, because you want them to say yes to the second date. You just want to over deliver, bring them flowers, bring them chocolates, pay for dinner, you know, all the rest of it. But you don't require anything in return yet.
Right.
So you're not saying, come on, invite me in for coffee. You're not asking for anything in return, because you're showing that reputation as being one of over delivering. So that's my first sort of commandment. I call it the 10 commandments of Facebook. It's great. Don't multi-post. So number 2, this is astounding how much this happens, and I really don't understand how this happens. Don't self-promote in somebody else's group when the host does what you do.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean, who would do that? Loads of people do that.
Yes. I'm with you. 150%. I can't even, you know, and it's so funny. And people don't understand that. People don't understand. They're like, well, why wouldn't you go to that person's social media thing? Or why wouldn't you? And I'm like, no, because that's their day and you don't do that. And they don't, well, they don't do exactly what you do. That all may be, but that is not what you do.
No, it's frightening. So many people that do it. And I think that, you know, if you are the kind of person that does that, you're setting up a completely different reputation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to be known as supportive and helpful, not somebody who's trying to steal other people's clients.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is effectively what you're trying to do. They are in their group and they're nurturing and they're looking after people, and you're coming in and trying to nurture their people. What the hell is going on? I don't know where their mindset is.
And it's so funny because years ago, when I lived in New Jersey, there was 4 of us in one networking group, and it was an open networking group. But I would never comment when this other woman was speaking, and yet she would find the need every time I spoke on Facebook to tell me
really
how Google Plus was and how everybody in the audience should listen to her. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's working for you now. Because she was on the Google Plus train, and I was like, oh, that's not a good train to be on. I could see that after Buzz, but it's a really funny thing because, and I find that more so our world, that everybody wants to prove something. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. You need to let everybody work in the realms that they work and be okay with that, because there's enough clients out there to attract if you're doing it right.
No, definitely.
Out stepping on anybody's toes.
No.
And John says, or comment on other people's ads when you do what they do.
Oh God, is that just so blatantly ridiculous?
Mm-hmm. It's terrible. I don't understand it. No. And you need to be nice out there, because all of this will come back and
exactly
bite you later if you're not. Well, that's what I found. I mean, I'm like, if you're nice, and trust me, there isn't times where you're like, oh, I'd love to comment or whatever, and you're like, nope, because especially online, because it's all there.
Yeah,
and it doesn't go away.
Not going away.
You don't treat people like you want to be treated out there, it's not going away for you too. Yeah. And I think that's just good business ethics, and we get to Facebook and we forget it.
Yep. But that's what's really terrifying, is the things in my 10 commandments are not, it's not rocket science. Mm-mm. This is just basic decorum, basic etiquette, and it's been thrown out the window. So number 3, this one is astounding. Again, should be really obvious, but it isn't. Be nice. Don't be controversial. Don't be argumentative. Because all that you'll do is attract controversial and argumentative people into your tribe. You should treat Facebook like a dinner party. Don't talk about sex, religion, or politics.
Yep.
It's a dinner party. We need to be nice. I never talk about anything confrontational, argumentative. I'm not negative on social media. I'm always upbeat. I'm always positive. Yep. I'm always enthusiastic. Everyone knows that the UK has just decided to pull out of the EU. It's been an astounding thing. But all I posted on Facebook, the one thing I posted was, can we all just pull together now? Because united, we can do this. Mm-hmm. I didn't post any political shenanigans because, my God, my Facebook timeline was rife with it.
Yep.
But I just thought, why would you do that? This is I keep using the word reputation, and I'm sorry that I keep using the same word again and again, but that's what it is. Mm-hmm. People in a year's time will remember that Jodee had a rant on Facebook about the EU.
Yep.
You can't afford to do it.
And the other thing is that it opens up. People don't realize what they're opening up when they do that, because that's how you're seen, and that's where, and it's amazing to me, and I can't tell you how many times I've posted and then erased it, and that not erase it, like start to write it and go, this is not worth it. This is not even slightly worth it, and I think when you're online all the time, you realize how precious your reputation is, because that's really what you have as a social media person. Yep. But I think that there's these liberties that are taken out there, and it's like, why are you taking these liberties? Because this is not who you are. No, all these, and I will just hide those people because I don't want to deal with that stuff. No. I'm like, yeah, you pretty much have lost me now, because it's not worth it.
No, but from one post, you can kill it. Mm-hmm. One post.
Yep. Yep.
There was a thing in the US a while back where a lot of the states allowed same-sex marriage, and there was a big hoo-ha.
Yep.
And there were lots of people on my timeline saying, God doesn't want this. This is not good. And I just unfriended all of them because I thought, wow, this is not acceptable. You can't be posting that stuff on Facebook. It's horrendous. Okay, so that's number 3. And again, these are really obvious.
Yeah.
They seem not to be obvious to the people on Facebook. So number 4, I mentioned this briefly, give. Answer queries where you can help in groups. Get in there. It's not self-promoting, you're helping. You're not helping and then putting your bloody website. You're not helping and then adding a post to your own group. You're just helping. If they want to find you and work with you, they'll click on your profile name and come and find you. And believe me, it does happen because my website literally tripled in 3 months when I changed to doing this. All I do is I go and comment on posts when people need tech help setting up their business. So, I'll help them with their MailChimp account or whatever. And they're like, oh my God, this is brilliant. Can I pay you? No, you don't have to pay me. Just, shout out that I'm brilliant. Go and tell people on Facebook that I'm brilliant. They're like, hell yeah, I'll go and do that.
Right.
That's all you need. You're just creating a reputation. So number 5, this is about creating a Facebook free group where you can nurture people and encourage people to come in. But can I say, don't make it too big? Because there's a lot of people out there who have thousands and thousands of people in their Facebook groups. And I'm sorry, but no one on this earth can nurture thousands of people. I keep mine at the 200 mark because I can nurture 200 people and I can get to know 200 people. I cannot get to know 5,000 people. You know what I mean? Then that's not relationships.
Right.
So I think that's a key thing. It's not about the numbers in your Facebook group. It's about the numbers on your Facebook page, but it's not about the numbers in your Facebook group at all. So, and also make sure that you make the people who are in that free group feel really special by giving them exclusive content that you don't put anywhere else.
That's, yes.
If they're in your group and you then go and shove it all over your Facebook page, well, what's the point in being in the group? Yeah. So number 6, this is, these ones are all about creating a sort of an organic sales funnel on Facebook. So you create a paid for membership group on Facebook for your clients only.
Yep.
So the free group is for people who just want your gold, but they aren't paying clients. And then you've got a membership group for paying clients. And that's obviously a completely different level of support, a completely different level of depth of support. And number 7, yes, use retargeting in Facebook in a gentle and relevant manner. Don't stalk people because that's just freaky. And it's easy to do now with the amount of targeting sort of insights and data that we have from Facebook. But, do it in a nice manner. Just shout out that you understand that they're business owners and that they're going to have some issues or something, and then that you can help them. But Facebook doesn't like it when you get super, super specific about people. You can't say, I know you're an 18-year-old woman and you got married last month. It's not allowed because people just feel completely stalked. So,
on the other side of this, which is so funny, and I have a business coach. She's not a Facebook coach, but it's so hysterical, is that watch that you're not retargeting people who are already paying.
Oh, God, yeah. And that's just so easy not to do.
I love my coach in so many ways, but if I get her right one more time, I'm like, oh my God, I'm already paying you. I don't need to see this for me to pay you again. This is so make sure that you are eliminating those emails out once they're already a client, because they're going to get annoyed.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my other thing. That's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
I'm like,
no, you're absolutely right. It just shows a lack of attention to detail.
Yeah, exactly.
So number 8, what I tend to do is I create a sales funnel within Facebook by creating a blog on my website about a very specific thing that I can help people with. And then I advertise to that blog using Facebook targeting to cold traffic. So people that don't know me yet. And then I pixel the page, the blog page. So once I pixel the blog page, it then means that anybody on Facebook who's logged in at the time when they go and see the blog, they don't even need to have accessed the blog through Facebook. They just need to be logged in when they're looking at the blog. All those people are jumping into my wonderful pixel audience, and I can then advertise my freebie that, again, is exactly relevant to the blog that I've written about. And that means that I'm being relevant to those people. I'm not spamming them. You know, I'm giving them something that I know they're already interested in because they read that blog.
Right.
And that's really tidy. So number 9, hang on a second. Number 9 is, Poppy, darling, you need to go and watch telly with Helen, please. Sorry, Wendy.
No, you're fine. So cute, the little voice in the background.
Yes, it's a little voice. What's Helen got for you? So number 9, you can create your own little Facebook sales funnel that isn't any money at all. So you've got your Facebook page, and then you put a pinned post at the top that tells people about your free nurturing Facebook group. So anybody that comes onto the page for the first time, anyone that likes it for the first time, is going to see that post, and hopefully they will click and come into your Facebook page group, free group. And then you nurture them in your free group. And then obviously they love you so much because you're amazing. They then become a client and they go into your paid group on Facebook. So in essence, you've got a little mini sales funnel all on Facebook.
Right.
And you haven't paid a penny. All you're doing is supporting people and nurturing people and spending time in there. So that's my number 9. You know, it's a nice, gentle way of looking after people. And number 10, yes. People in groups, they seem to have got a little unimaginative, and they're just copying what everyone else does in other groups. You need to be imaginative about the way that you host your group. There's a real trend at the moment for having hashtag days. So it might be hashtag Marketing Monday, or hashtag Top Tuesday, or hashtag, you know, Website Wednesday, or whatever it is. But there's a lot of that in groups. So why not do something a bit different in your group so that you stand out? Because otherwise, all the groups on Facebook are going to have these hashtag days. You know, there'll be a self-promotion day, or hey, Friday self-promotion day, or, you know, whatever it is. If you create your own group and you're unique and you're different, I think it's a lot stronger for your reputation than if you're just following the herd and doing what everybody else does in your group. So those are my 10 commandments.
And the other thing is about that is that when you're doing those things, people just stop seeing them. They really do stop seeing. It's not even.
They do.
And when you hashtag, if it's a private group anywhere, it's not going any further than that, which is really funny because people think it's. And I'm like, if it's not public, it still doesn't matter. You can hashtag.
Not a real hashtag.
It's not a real hashtag.
Bless them.
So I just and you know what, I think that there is and I don't know about you, but I think that there is a gold mine to not pay. I don't think the ads should go away. I think there's so much. You think you're right about the pixeling and the blogging and all of that and doing that, and there's a need for ads. But I also think that if you can run a group correctly, that you can lessen the amount you're actually paying in ads and really foster people. And I think that's what people want now. They don't want, because they're frustrated with, you know, and Facebook is going to constantly change. I'm like, the one thing that you can like be sure of is that life and Facebook always changes. Instead of getting upset about that, just go with it. So as long as that's going to, you know, as that keeps happening, just kind of go with that and know that that's okay. But there are other techniques that you can use that if you're really like, absolutely not, I'm not going to spend any money. I'm always like, well, there might have to spend some money somewhere. Because my whole thing is if you would have spent like, well, we have the telephone book here that nobody ever looks at. Like I get mine on my doorstep and I literally put it right into the recycling bin. I really wouldn't waste the trees like this, but since they do, but nobody would have thought anything about 20 years ago spending money there at all. No. Or hiring somebody to say where to spend the money on what magazine, you know, the PR person, and yet they get to social media and they go, nope, we're not going to spend anything. We're not going to do anything.
Yeah, it should be free. Yeah,
it should be free. And I'm like, oh, they spoiled us in the beginning, and that's what ended up happening, because there is no real free anymore. And it shouldn't be, because it's still marketing your business.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's my 10 commandments. But the 11th one that I wanted to add recently, because of all of the Facebook Live that's going on, is please just be yourself on Facebook Live. I'm going to put out a video in a couple of weeks because this is happening so much, and I thought there's a freebie in this. I need to record this video to help people do this properly. What they tend to do is they're getting on Facebook Live, and you can almost imagine for the 2 minutes before they press record, they're going, I can do this, I could do this. Right, I'm ready for Facebook Live. Oh my God, press record, oh my God. And I'm like, no, just be you. Just sit there and chat as though you're having a cup of coffee with a friend and just have a chat. It doesn't need to be a performance. And you know what? It's even worse if it is a performance, because if it's a performance, then when they get to see the real you, they'll think, oh, well, who's that? Because that's not the real you. That's weird. And also, if it's a performance, most of the time we do realize it's a performance. We can see through that. We know that you're putting on, you know, a big crazy ass performance to get attention. And we know that's not the real you. And so that's going to put people off as well. Whereas if you're just chatting and being normal and, you know, being engaging, video should just be like having a cup of coffee with your friend. It's not a performance. So I'm kind of adding in my 11th. Yeah, John, they absolutely can. They can smell fake from a mile away. But that's my 11th commandment that I'm adding.
Well, and the other thing is, that I really want, I just put your website up, by the way, so people.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. But the other thing is that don't get upset if you haven't planned that nobody's watching you Facebook Live. It's so funny. People are like, well, nobody's showing up. Hey, did you plan it? And if you didn't, it's okay. It's okay to go on a Women Go on Facebook Live, but realize that your views are going to be later, not immediate.
Exactly.
It's not good. And I get, people get so upset, and I'm like, why are you getting upset? Because if you didn't do anything to let people know, for one, but for two, it's sometimes about the views later. It's not.
Oh yeah, I did a wonderful one. We have a thing in the office where when a tune comes on the radio, there's a certain tune each week. We pick a new tune each week, and we get up and dance to the tune. So it kind of gives us a bit of energy in the office. And I recorded a Facebook Live, a couple of months back, of me and Savannah doing it. I think it was Le Freak C'est Chic. And we were having a bit of a 70s disco moment in front of Facebook Live. And it probably lasted, I don't know, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, a really short Facebook Live. And I had, within 2 hours, I had 1,500 views. Right. It's not about who watches you at the time of being live.
It isn't.
It's about the views later on. And Facebook Live at the moment is huge because Facebook is just really pushing it. So, you know, if you've got a post that you want to put out there, don't do a post, record it. Do a Facebook Live.
Record it.
Also, the other tip I've got for you is don't share a video from YouTube because you won't get reach. You've got to upload it direct to Facebook.
Absolutely. And it won't go live as people, because that's part of the curiosity, is that even if it starts to play, whether you watch it later or watch it now, and that's part of the curiosity. And when you do a link from somewhere else, you're not getting that information. You're not getting anything from that. So although I still like YouTube. I just realized
me too.
Audience.
Yeah.
And know that
I record my Facebook Lives and then I'll upload them to YouTube so that they're
right. And just know, and that's the other thing is that people don't realize that every social channel has their own audience. It's not a big let's everybody mix and match and we're all gonna, because there are people who are just, you're never gonna get some people from Twitter to Facebook and vice versa, or YouTube or Snapchat, and it's okay as long as you know where your audience is. Now, does Facebook have the largest? Yes, by far, across the world. But also that you're also going to, and I think that's part of the issue with businesses in general, is they don't ask people what social media sites they're on. Yeah. And then all of them. And they don't need to be on all of them. They just need to do it really, really well, as long as there are people on there. So I cannot believe it. We are running, and it's completely up to you. We have 3 minutes left of the hour. So I don't know how your time frame is, because I don't want to hold you up because we had tech problems in the beginning.
Do we want to see if anyone's got any questions or anything in the people that are watching?
We have any questions, and I was going to do this live so we could take questions both places, but because I'm recording on my phone, I'm like, I need to get a backup phone for this. So John's usually good for a question. Let's see, he's there. He's a John is an artist, by the way, in Scotland, and he was my guest last week. Yes, and he's incredible. So I'm glad that he could join us today. And I don't know the other people who are on. Let me see.
Let me see how I know who's here.
Yeah. Oh, see, I'm on here twice because
bless you.
And the thing. That's pretty funny. So.
That's cool. So yeah, that's I hope the 10 Commandments are helpful for everybody that watches this later. And you know, at the end of the day, the overriding thing for the 10 Commandments is just be nice, have decorum, have etiquette, treat people like you would if you were with them face to face. You know, you wouldn't shove your business card in their face, so don't do it on Facebook.
Right. And here, let me see. I think I have, because I want to make sure. I'm going to put your website in the chat so I can find you later afterwards.
It's very kind.
And oh, we have one. Okay. And then let me go to your Facebook real quick and put that in there too, so people can find you either way.
It's the longest one in the world. Online, totally fabulous.
Oh, where are you? I have you up somewhere else. Hold on. Let me find you.
Thank you.
So, I put you on my Facebook page earlier, so let me see. I have you. Your link somewhere. There we go. All right. Because I want to make sure that people can reach out to you and find you. And
super. Thank you.
I think you're awesome.
Thank you very much.
I don't do anymore, so I'm glad.
I like
wonderful. I love matching up with people that like we can both do what we do, and
exactly.
So, but thank you
very much. Very
dealing
kind.
with all the tech problems, and I know that somebody else who's online. I have a rule on Facebook that if I try it 3 times, it doesn't work, I walk away until the next day, because I'm like, it's just tech, and you can get frustrated, or you can just walk away and know better.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for inviting me on your blab. That was awesome.
Thank you. And I'll have the replays to go out this Friday too. So everybody who didn't catch us today will catch us on Friday.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And you. Bye.
Bye.